So this just popped up in my head. This just popped up in my head. Ethnology and colorism. Ethnology and colorism. This is why you can't separate African Americans and Africans. They're kingdoms, which is why you have this color black that no one knows how to get rid of it, right? Look, you can associate Americans, African Americans, right? You can associate Americans with English, Welsh, Irish, Scottish. Don't worry about that. You can associate Africans with Eastern Europe, which is Romania, Portugal, those places, right? In Asia. But this color thing, you can't get the color blue, you can't get the color black with the color that doesn't reverse it. So if you have Africans who are on the eastern side of the globe and you have Africans on the western side of the globe in America, right? If they're mixing with everybody, surely enough, you can't tell if Africans are related to Americans because the color spectrum, it starts to brighten up. You start to have a tanning effect throughout the entire world, and it hasn't happened. So it's either that the Ugandans are the original Asians and the Americans are the original English. So now you have to look, how do the English and the Asians differ in history? Now you got to study that history, right? It's simple. Look at the coat of arms. We know the Chinese, they study Tai Chi, Nirvana. Coat of arms, they're the ones that script that up. I don't know a coat of arm for Imuna, which is a name in Swahili, or Early, which is a name in Somaliland. You know, I was surprised to know that was the first name. I didn't know that, until someone told me the other day. So English, Chinese, they've always worked side by side in history. But this is where it confuses you in history, is that you think the pictures that they have in the textbooks are the people you see today, right? But it's actually the people who you may see on a visa visit. You may see at a hookah lounge, right? You know what I mean? In Columbus, Ohio, somewhere. Look, like, how do you get rid of a base color where that's not the intention to? Norwegians aren't trying to assimilate to every culture. The Swiss aren't trying to assimilate into every culture. So how is it that you get Americans that don't have a nation that they can call their own, right? Eddie Griffin, Martin Lawrence, same complexion, right? Martin Lawrence a little tinge lighter, right? Got Ugandans, Kenyans. They have their own nations. They have their own nations. And you notice throughout their villages, you may see people who live in the same village, right? Even villages over, they all look alike. You'll see somebody in America, like, you look like somebody I just saw the other day, you know, or you look like somebody that I saw in Africa, right? But they don't tie those to kingdoms. That's a king's bloodline. You have to find out who that king is. That's the king's bloodline, you know? So let's not get this twisted, right? You know, the white Welsh, they've always been in America, right? Alongside the social accepted term, Black Americans, they've always been alongside them, right? You know, what happened before apartheid where we just kind of broke apart? Now, I've said this in recent videos, you know, white people are basically black. The coloring spectrum in the West is kind of higher. And it kind of is in the East as well, because, you know, Chinese, they look like some Sudanese, you know, definitely Ugandans. They got the slant eyes. So how does that happen? How do you have one color in the spectrum where it's in the West and another color in the spectrum in the East, and they all range and balance out? How is you have a Japanese who has the same complexion as a person that's Spanish or Portuguese? That's something to think about, you know? That's something to think about. One love.